everybody! Hello. Welcome to Theatre of Science, Reproduction, whole new topic, Lesson 1, Sex Cells. Right, before we talk about what reproduction is, we need to talk a little bit about DNA, right? That was red, wasn't it? A little piano noise. DNA it's actually just a particle that is in nearly every cell in your body. But what DNA does is it's like the instruction manual that decides who you are, all right? So your DNA in your body decides what colour your hair is, what colour your eyes are, whether you're a human being. So when we say reproduction, what we mean is living things passing on their DNA to the next living thing so that when they die, their species can still exist, right? So like dinosaurs went extinct because they didn't pass their DNA on. So there was no instruction manual for how to make a dinosaur anymore, all right? I'm going to turn the sound off on my computer. It's going to be incredibly annoying. So reproduction just means passing on your DNA. Now, there's a couple of ways that living things do this. The first way is called asexual reproduction, right? Just sexual with an A on the end. Bacteria reproduce asexually. It just means making a copy of themselves. You know, like spider plants. You've seen spider plants where a spider plant is big and then one tiny little spider plant will sort of grow off it. That's asexual reproduction, just making a copy. So this is how bacteria reproduce. They just split in half and you get two bacteria. There are some benefits to asexual reproduction, like it's easy, you know, it's fast. Bacteria reproduce quickly. You only need you, so that's good. But there are major downsides, like, have you heard of the Black Death? The bubonic plague of the 1300s. It struck Europe. And some people were more immune to it than others. Some people could fight it off. A lot of people couldn't fight it off. And between a third and half of Europe died of the Black Death in the 1300s, which is obviously bad. But if humans reproduced asexually, it could have been worse, because the thing with bacteria is they've all got the same DNA. So if a disease is going to kill one bacteria, it's probably going to kill them all. Same with humans, right? Humans don't reproduce asexually. We produce sexually. That means you need two sex cells to come together. You need two humans to make a new human. So instead of doing this, someone buy me a board rubber, would you? We've got one cell and then another cell. The other difference is our DNA isn't all just floating around inside us like it is in bacteria. We keep our DNA nicely wrapped up in a nucleus, all right? Nucleus, kind of the control centre of the cell, contains the DNA. So the female reproductive organs in humans produce a female sex cell. The male reproductive organs produce a male sex cell. And in order to make a new human, these sex cells have to come together. They have to fuse, and the nuclei fuse together. Half the female's DNA is in their sex cell and half the male's DNA is in their sex cell. So when two sex cells come together, that's when you get a full package of DNA, all right? So what do these sex cells look like? They don't look like this. Did you bring with you, when I advertised this lesson on Facebook, I said, can you bring a grain of rice and 3 food cans? And it didn't matter if the food cans were empty or full. If you have not done that, I don't know, you could go and get a grain of rice right now, or you can just look at mine, okay? It's not the most complicated activity we've ever done on Theatre of Science. So, get a grain of rice. That is going to be the head of our sperm. So, here's the reproductive organs. Next week, next lesson is going to be all about the reproductive system, so we're not going to worry too much about the words for these bits yet. But this is the male reproductive system. This is the one you probably know a lot of these words already. Yeah, you've got the penis, you've got the testicles, a lot of it's on the outside, so we talk about this more. So the male reproductive system makes the male sex cell, which is the sperm. Yeah, kind of looks like a tadpole. We're going to say that this grain of rice, there we go, is the head of the sperm. It has got a tail as well, but... And this is the female reproductive system. It's all inside, so we don't talk about it as much. We'll talk about it in depth next week. But the female reproductive system produces the female sex cell, which is the egg. Yeah, just like a chicken egg, but you know, human DNA. So if the, just kind of tell you about the sizes. because even at GCSE you get asked a lot about the difference between a sperm and an egg. And one of the amazing differences is the size difference. Put 3 cans in a row and have a look at that grain of rice again. If I worked this out, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. If this grain of rice was the head of the sperm, then the egg, the female sex cell, would be about 3 cans across. That's the size difference. The sperm cell is certainly one of, if not the smallest cell in the human body. And the female sex cell, the egg, is the biggest cell in the human body. You can actually see the egg with your eyes. The other major difference between the sex cells is how many of them are produced. So the egg, only really one generally, or sometimes 2 or 3 come out at a time. And in their lifetime, a female will only produce, say, maybe 300 to 400 eggs. Whereas males, guess how many sperm are produced? I mean, actually, I don't even know the number. Like one portion of sperm coming out of the penis is called an ejaculation. One ejaculation contains about, well, minimum like 40 million sperm, typically 80 million, maybe even 1 billion. It's about 800 kilograms of rice. That would be how many grains of rice, sperm you'd need, all heading for this one massive egg. Right. Have I told you enough? I'm gonna do that annoying thing where I give you a sheet that I haven't really told you the answers for, and I just want you to kind of use your imaginations and try and work out the answer, okay? Because if I just tell you, you won't remember it as well. If you do some thinking and you use your imaginations, it doesn't matter if you're wrong, does it? It's all about learning. Yeah, come and do this question sheet for me. Flip, flip, flip. There we go. Right, so I've given you a little clue. This is a diagram of the female reproductive system. You might know that is where the new human ends up growing. So it's the female reproductive system that produces an egg. It comes out of this thing. It's called an ovary. We'll talk about it next week. And millions and millions of sperm get delivered by the penis into the vagina, which is here. So you've got millions of sperm here. You've got the egg here. The sperm and the egg pretty much meet at the top here through this tube. What I'd like you to do, please, is take a look at the male sex cell, take a look at the female sex cell, and try and tell me which description is correct for which cell. One of the descriptions is not right for either of them, okay? So tell me which description is totally wrong. Which one of these cells, male or female, looks like it's good at swimming? Which one looks like it stores enough nutrients to feed a growing human? Which one looks like it has a jelly coat that only lets one cell in? Like, why would either of them need to do that, only let one cell in? Which one has a head full of digestive juices? Why on earth would one of them need that? Which one has a sharp head to pierce layers? And which one has lots of energy to help it move? Okay, so that's where the sperm start. That's where the sperm end up getting to. And the most important bit is question 2. Once you've done that, for each description, one of the descriptions, you'll just have to cross it out. But for each description that you think is correct, can you explain why the cell might need to do that? Like if you think one of them is a good swimmer, tell me why you think it needs to be a good swimmer. You're gonna have to use your imagination, okay? This science is all about creativity. I'll give you, well, the explanations, I really want you to work at those explanations, so I'll give you a minute. I should say as well that I do this lesson live on YouTube twice, on Facebook twice, sorry. I've done it twice on Facebook already this week. This is the no comments lesson, because some people prefer that. But I have got a post on my Facebook page at the moment where if you've got any questions about this lesson, or you just want to tell me how you got on, or you've got a cool fact that you think I missed out, then you can comment on it, okay? So if you want to go to my Facebook page and comment some questions, then you can. Here's Angel saying that they thought this lesson was on at 11. Watch on catch up. Okay. Hello, Angel. Good to see you in the future. "15 seconds. Oh, thanks for the likes. 2 people have liked this. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm sure that'll please the YouTube algorithm. 7 seconds. Can anyone tell that I haven't actually got a timer with me? I hope no one's being very precise about this timing. Okay. I'll go through the answers. Yeah, you ready? Yeah, of course you're ready. And if you're not ready, then you can listen to what I'm saying and learn as we go. Or you could just stop watching and pause, because I'm going to leave this on my YouTube page. Right. Now the first one, I'm hoping that you all got the first one. Yeah, it's not rocket science, is it? Look at it, it's a tadpole. The sperm looks exactly like a tadpole, so it is indeed very good at swimming. The second one, stores enough nutrients to feed a growing human. Well, not as obvious, but it's the female sex cell, because the female sex cell is a lot bigger. I thought this was interesting. It helps maybe to think about the difference between frog spawn and a chicken egg. So frog spawn is really, really small, because frog spawn doesn't actually need to feed a baby frog for that long, because it develops into a tadpole and then it gets out of the frog spawn and it swims around and it can feed itself. Whereas a chicken egg is massive, because the chicken egg has got to feed the chicken between it's a little bundle of cells to when it's a massive chick with a beak ready to pop out the egg. So that's why chicken eggs, one of the reasons they're so big, is because they've got to provide enough nutrients to feed a chick until it's, you know, pretty much fully grown baby chick. So female eggs, they nurture the growing human for like the first couple of weeks, and then you get an umbilical cord. We'll talk about that in a couple of lessons time. But anyway, yes, it does have enough nutrients in it to feed the growing human while it's first developing. The egg is also the one that has a jelly coat that only lets one cell in. Because otherwise it'd be chaos, wouldn't it? You've got millions of sperm all heading in this direction. If millions and millions of sperm, or even just a few sperm, got into the egg, it'd be very confusing. There'd be too much DNA in the egg. You only want one sperm in there, so that you've got half the sperm, half the DNA from the sperm, half the DNA from the egg, making one complete new human with completely unique DNA. So that, yeah, the female's sperm egg is amazing. Once one sperm's got in, it just shuts down all the other receptors around its outside, so that no other sperms can get in. Very cool. It's the sperm that has a head full of digestive juices, because it's got to get into the egg. We'll talk about that in a sec. And nothing has a sharp head to pierce. Look, there is no piercing going on here. No. Look, they're both quite smooth and rounded, aren't they? But the sperm, the good at swimming bit was a clue. The sperm has also got lots of energy to help it move. The egg's not so big on moving. It's not really bothered about moving around. Right. Have you got all those? I'll go through the explanations now for you. So sperms are good at swimming. They've got a head full of digestive juices, and they have a lot of energy to help them move, swim, yeah? The egg has got enough nutrients to feed the little growing human, and it's got a jelly coat, which only lets one cell in, and then it's shut. No more sperms can get in. Okay. Flippy flip, flip, flip. Hello. Right, let's go through that in a bit more detail, because those are the sort of answers that you need to know for, you know, GCSE, but I think that the details are much more interesting. So, I think lesson 3, we will do the sperm's journey. Sorry about the screen not being flipped. That says uterus. Right, so first of all, the sperms start down here in the vagina, and they swim upwards. So the main reason, first of all, that the sperm needs to be a really good swimmer is because it's journeying upwards. The egg, actually, yeah, it really can't move at all. It just gets sort of wafted. There's little kind of hairs all along this tube that just waft it in the right direction, but it doesn't actually really sort of have any energy it uses to move anywhere. So it's all up to the sperm to swim with their tails. Let's use some good words here. You'd need these for GCSE, and also, yeah, they're just fun to learn biology words. Right, so here's our sperm, a bit more, a bit bigger. The tail, fantastic word for the tail, it's called the flagellum. You could be labelling this, please. Didn't take long to sketch a sperm, does it? Come on. Flagell, 2 L's. Flagellum, it's just a posh word for tail. So, yeah, it uses the flagellum, the tail, to swim upwards, needs to be a good swimmer. The other interesting bit of the sperm, I think, is this bit here, which is called the mid-piece. Thanks, biology. That's a nice, obvious word, isn't it? The mid-piece. Now, the cool thing about the mid-piece is it provides the sperm with loads of energy. You know how we say, oh, food gives humans energy. What it really is that inside our cells there are teeny tiny little things sort of stuck in the jelly of our cells called mitochondria, and they store chemical energy from our food and then release it, and that gives us energy. So in your body, your muscles have got loads of mitochondria in them because your muscles obviously need a lot of energy to do what they do. The most mitochondria in your body, or the cell with the most mitochondria, are your heart muscles, because the heart obviously works very hard. This mid-piece is stuffed full of mitochondria, which release energy, which power the flagellum. Is that the most biology sentence ever? It's good, eh? So mid-piece, if you're a bit younger, you're not doing GCSE, not keen on the long words, you could just remember that the mid-piece gives energy to the tail, provides the tail with energy so that the sperm can swim very fast. But yeah, it contains mitochondria really, which is constantly releasing energy. Okay, so let's continue our journey. So the sperm gets, see that? The sperm gets higher and higher and higher, goes along these tubes, we'll learn the words for these bits next week. Finally, it meets the egg. But how's it going to get in? Right, we have established that it doesn't pierce the egg. I think the best example for this is, if you've ever taken nail varnish off, you've ever had nail varnish on, and then it starts to look a bit manky and you want to get rid of it. There are two ways of taking nail varnish off. You can scrape it off, which is what I do. It's not very good, it looks horrible, it doesn't work very well, you could end up damaging the nail. That is not what the sperm does. The other way you take nail varnish off is you just put nail varnish remover on, right? And it just slips off nicely. The sperm is doing it properly. So when the sperm meets the egg, let's put another label on our sperm. It's got a little cap in it called the acrosome. And the acrosome is full of digestive juices. I'm going to give you a little quiz on this, so don't worry if you're not taking all this in. Yeah, the acrosome, I'll put cap. It's just a little cap on the front of the sperm that contains enzymes, like digestive juices. So you know how our guts have got enzymes in them, so that they digest our food. It's kind of the same thing. When the sperm hits the egg, the acrosome, the little cap, opens up and releases all these enzymes, and they basically digest the outside of the egg. It sounds like something out of a horror film, but it is totally essential if a human is going to be made. So acrosome, little cap, shall I put with enzymes in? Because enzymes is a good biology word as well. Enzymes. Enzymes are just a little chemical really that breaks stuff down. Right, this has all got very biology, hasn't it? I'm a physics teacher. I'm kind of impressed with myself. So, the sperm has now entered the egg, and then what happens is what we've talked about, this fantastic moment where the egg detects that there's a sperm that has reached the inside of it, so it shuts down, it locks down all the receptors, so that no other sperm can get in, yeah? So it only releases one. It only lets one sperm in. That's one of the uses for this jelly coat. And oh, thanks for the likes, people. I think that'll really help. I don't know how, but can't hurt, can it? And then what happens is the nuclei fuse together. Nuclei, good word for two nucleuses. So the nuclei of the egg and the nuclei of the sperm. No, the nucleus of the egg and the nucleus of the sperm. The nuclei fuse together, and that is called fertilization, which is the last word that we need to say in this biology lesson. Fertilization is when the nuclei fuse together, and finally you can start growing your person. Fertilization, you say that the sperm has fertilized the egg. Whew, that was a lot, wasn't it? Who would have known that this little tadpole thing could be so complicated? I mean, we can't even see it. They're brilliant, actually. Right. If you've taken all that in, I'll be very impressed. I had to do quite a lot of reading, to be frank with you, and 3 lessons to remember all those different words. But what I'll do now is I'll give you a little quiz. But the quiz, it's not like to test how good you are at this. It's to help your understanding. So if there's any adults in the room, or if you're a bit older, then you can see which questions you get right, which questions you get wrong, and you can decide whether you have learned a lot this lesson, or whether you need to go and maybe like read BBC Bite Size a bit to do some revision, or whether this lesson was too hard for you, whether you need to message me. You get it, right. I'm going to show you some quiz questions. You ready? Flip it again. Have you got all those words? Yeah? Okay. Right. Question number 1. Come, bring you a bit closer. Question number 1. What's it called when a sperm and egg fuse together? Question number 1. What is it called when a sperm and egg fuse together? Is it A, fertilizer, B, fertilization, or C, fertile? Fertilizer, fertilization, or fertile? When the sperm and the egg fuse together, or I guess if you want to be really technical, the nuclei of the sperm and the egg fuse together. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answer is fertilization. Well done if you got that one. Question number 2. What is special about the nuclei of the sperm and the egg? What's special about the nuclei of the sperm and the egg? Right, these little sort of circles in the middle. In the sperm, it looks very big. Do they contain the DNA? Do they give the cells energy? Or do they contain enzymes? What's special about the nuclei, the nucleuses of the sperm and the egg? They contain the DNA, they give the cells energy, or they contain enzymes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is that they contain DNA. I feel like I went through that a bit fast. It's quite weird that the sperm just has 50% of the male's DNA and the egg has 50%, half of the female's DNA. That's why if you know the adults that made you, you'll notice you don't look exactly like either one of the adults that made you because you haven't got all their DNA. You're not a copy, are you? 50% and 50% comes together to make 100% of a totally new combination of DNA. It's very exciting. I guess this is why people get very excited when babies are born. Totally new person. Right, number 3. Which of these describes the egg? Does the egg A, contain nutrients? Is it B, good at swimming? Or C, does the egg have a nucleus to attract sperm? What describes the egg? Does it contain nutrients? Is it good at swimming? Or does the nucleus attract sperm? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answer is it contains nutrients. I had to be a bit careful with this question because I didn't know, and then I sort of looked, I thought, oh, I'll say it attracts the sperm because that's nonsense. And then when I looked it up, they've just done a study actually and found that the egg does release chemicals that do attract sperm. But yeah, the nucleus just contains the DNA. Got to be careful with assuming things are wrong. Right, the cap on the sperm contains enzymes to help it get through the egg's coating. But what is that little cap called? Okay, the cap on the head of the sperm contains enzymes to help it get through, like digest the egg's coating. What is that little cap called? Is it A, the acrosome, B, the acronym, or C, the flagellum? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's the acrosome. Yeah, the flagellum is another good word, but it means tail. All right, 3 more. Question 5. Which cell is there more of? Both in the human body and in the world, I suspect. Which cell is there more of? A, sperm, B, egg, or C, there's the same amount of each? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is the sperm. Loads more sperm. Like I say, only 300 or 400 eggs released during a female's lifetime, whereas the male releases like millions of sperm with every ejaculation. And last 2 questions. Which of these is a function of the egg's jelly coating? Does the egg's jelly coating dissolve the sperm, only let 1 sperm in, or does it feed the growing human? I just like to use the word function really, because it's a good word. You see it crop up a lot in biology. It just means like the job. What's the job of the egg coating? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It only lets 1 sperm in. That's the job of the egg's jelly coating. There is jelly inside that feeds the growing human with the nutrients. And the sperm dissolves the egg, not the other way around. And finally, you ready for this little scene change? Question 7. Here is a labelled diagram of a sperm, but 3 of them are wrong. What was I thinking? Which of these 3 labels are incorrect, please? So I've labelled, starting from the back, the flagellum, the head, the midpiece, nutrients, eye, enzymes, acrosome, and nucleus. But 3 of those labels are wrong. Can you tell me which 3? And then if you want to go on my Facebook page and tell me how you got on, or ask me any questions, then I will read those out. And if not, we'll just crack on with some GCSE. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right,
Well, first of all, hopefully you noticed that the head was wrong. That is not the head. That's the mid-piece in the middle, yeah, that provides energy to the tail, the flagellum, so it can swim really fast. That's not the head. Sperms don't have eyes. They don't need them. It's very dark where they are. That's not the eye. That's the nucleus. And finally, that was a bit trickier, the last one. We wouldn't, I mean, there probably are some nutrients for the sperm, but we wouldn't label nutrients. There's no stored nutrients in the sperm. When we've talked about space travel in other shows and stuff, we've talked about how rockets need to be really light, you know, how astronauts eat like weird dried food, because rockets have to be really light to get them into space, like to give them enough energy to propel them into space, enough force. It's kind of the same with the sperm. It's just evolved to be totally streamlined. It's not carrying anything that it doesn't need. The only thing this sperm needs to do is get to the egg. So it's evolved to just be really fast. Look, you can see, like, it's kind of streamlined like a race car. It's got a tail, and it's not carrying around in its cell any of sort of other bits and pieces that other cells have that it doesn't need. Right, well done, you lot. I'm going to flip you around again. On that note, I hope you did well there, but don't forget, it's really, I cannot emphasise this enough. It is not about getting the right answer. If you got like 0 out of 7 there, but now you feel like if you did it again, then you would do well and you have understood, then that's brilliant. That's actually the whole point. Sometimes if people get full marks as a teacher, you're like, you probably didn't need this lesson. Maybe like you should be studying at a harder level. So hopefully you feel comfortable with how much you've learned there. If you don't, get in touch with me. I've got a Facebook group, like post your work. It'd be lovely to see it. Okay, that's the end of the lesson, except for those who are brave enough to have a look. I do have some GCSE questions for you that we'll go through the answers to as well. Not so you can get them right, just so it's good practice, isn't it? It's good technique. I'll do my little ad very quickly to tell you how I do these lessons for free, and then we'll do some GCSE questions. So my name's Lara. I run free live interactive lessons exactly like this one on Facebook and now on YouTube every week, and a show as well. If you go to my Facebook page, then it's all there, like when it is. If you would like to support me because you want this to be my job, it's such a good job, then everything's free, but a lot of people who come pay me £3 or £5 or £10 a month to keep me going, and I send them thank yous. So if you're watching this on YouTube, actually in the below bit I'll put a link to Patreon. Kids don't need to be pressing that, okay? Just the grown-ups, if you want to support. If you support me with £3 a month, I will send you some rainbow glasses because they're ace. And I'll send you a description of how they work because descriptions are also ace. And if you support me with £5 a month, which most people do, thank you very much, you get Theatre of Science magazine. Husband is a graphic designer. I am pretty good writer, actually. Do you know, I'm just going to say it. So I'm really happy with this. This is the colour issue. It was extremely late. My patrons are very patient people. But I think it's my favourite one. It's got like activities in it that I couldn't do in my show for whatever reason. It's got very in-depth descriptions. It's always got a quiz. It's always got some sort of comic that I write and make my husband illustrate. Poor bloke. It's got quizzes. It's got crafts. My son's had a bit of a go at this, but you know, he had a good time. So there you go. So yeah, if you want Theatre of Science magazine, please go to my Patreon page and sign up, and thank you so much. Thank you so much if you are supporting me on Patreon. Right, it's GCSE time. Let's do it. To be honest, if you got through that quiz okay, you're probably going to pick up a few marks here. Don't try and be too adventurous is my tip. Keep it simple with these GCSE questions. Right. Question number 1, and these are the summary questions. So if you're a bit intimidated by GCSE questions, the summary questions are the ones that I think you actually should be able to answer at the end of this lesson, okay? Summary questions are, what is fertilisation? Can you use the words sperm, egg and nucleus or nuclei in your answer? Can you sketch me a sperm and an egg and label the tail, the head and the jelly coat? And can you explain why sperm have tails? But if you want to do some GCSEs, question 1, which feature of the sperm allows it to dissolve the jelly coat of an egg? What dissolves the jelly coat of the egg? What lets the sperm do that? Is it the tail or the nucleus or the flagellum or the acrosome? Question number 2, can you sketch a sperm and label it to show its main features? That's 3 marks. So I'll give you a clue. You get 1 mark for the sketch and then 1 mark each for a feature. So you only need 2 features. Don't go crazy. Question 3, genuine question. A worm's sperm fuses with another worm's egg. What is the name of this process? What's it called when a sperm and an egg fuse together? This is Wormy. She's like the Theatre of Science mascot. So we followed her work for quite some time now. We've seen her buy a shoe in a previous lesson, and now she's starting family. We're all very pleased for her. And question number 4, list 3 ways a sperm cell is different from an egg cell. And that's for 3 marks. That'd be a right gift at GCSE, I think. Again, keep it simple, right? Now I've talked a lot there. You were probably just cracking on the whole time I was talking. So I'll give you like 20 seconds and then I'll start going through the answers. Thanks for the likes. I feel like I should be saying things like, please like and subscribe. And there's another thing I can't remember. Follow? I don't know. Like and subscribe. That'd be great. You know, and if you want to. Okay. I do. Right. I'll get better at this. Which feature of the sperm allows it to dissolve the jelly coat of an egg? Well, hopefully you could have done this by elimination. Hopefully you knew that it wasn't the tail or the nucleus. If you remembered that flagellum is a posh word for tail, then you would have probably been able to guess that it was the acrosome. Well done. For 1 mark at GCSE. Sketch a sperm and label it. This was so annoying. So I don't know why. How confusing. I don't know why there's an egg there. Oops. You were probably all extremely confused by that. All you needed to do is to sketch a sperm was sketch a head and a tail. And if you labelled it head and tail, you got a mark. So you got 1 mark for the sketch, 1 mark for tail, and 1 mark for head. If you'd used the word flagellum, then that also got a mark. That was fine. In fact, very well done you. Flagellum. You could have said that. Or you could have said nucleus as well if you wanted to draw a nucleus on. But for up to 3 marks. So well done. Wasn't bad, was it? When any sperm and any egg fuses together, then it's called fertilisation. It's an S, isn't it? I've had a mind blank. Fertilisation. I think it's one of those words that's maybe... No, it's a Z. Is it? No, I feel like it's an S. That's really going to annoy me. It's an S. I bet it's annoying you that you can't come and tell me. List 3 ways a sperm cell is different from an egg cell. Now, this is a really good question for practicing GCSE technique. So if you wrote small, I'm not going to give you a mark for that, because the thing with saying that the sperm cell is small is that I know it's annoying, but what you haven't done is you haven't told the GCSE examiner how big an egg cell is. So they can't be sure that you know that that's a difference. Like maybe the sperm cell's small, but maybe the egg cell is teeny weeny teeny tiny. So what you need to do is write smaller, and then that's comparative language. The sperm cell is smaller than the egg cell. So well done, that would be 1 mark if you wrote that. You could write that it can move. That would be another mark. It moves or it swims would be okay. It's mobile. Or you could have said the opposite, that the egg can't move. That would have been fine too. You could have said that the sperm doesn't have nutrients, no stored nutrients. It's not carrying any nutrients to feed any little humans. Just wants to get where it's going fast. You could have said it has a tail. Again, if you'd used the word flagellum instead of tail, that would have been fine, but you get a mark for tail as well. Flagellum. Or you could have said it has an acrosome. Has acrosome. Those are the only things on the mark scheme. So like in the Facebook lessons, someone had put that like the sperm doesn't have a jelly coat, which doesn't get you a mark. I guess you need to sort of focus on the sperm and not on the egg, if you see what I mean. If it had said list 3 ways an egg is different from a sperm, you probably could have said doesn't have a jelly coat. But anyway, yeah, this is why we do GCSE. Oh, another good question someone asked was, is it okay to write more than 3 answers? And I said, yes, as long as they don't contradict each other. Like you couldn't just write, it's smaller, it's bigger, has stored nutrients, doesn't have stored nutrients, and the examiner wouldn't pick out the right answers. They'd just be like, this person doesn't know what they're talking about. But if you'd written, the sperm is smaller, the sperm moves, and the sperm has a tail, and then you thought, oh, I don't know if that's enough, and you'd also written, the sperm has an acrosome, that would be fine, because they don't contradict each other. Maybe just like one was too vague, so the other one would get a mark. But yeah, if in doubt, feel free to write 4 or 5. Summary questions. Oh look, it is. Oh, I knew I'd written it somewhere. It's right there. It is an S. I think in American spelling it's a Z. Fertilisation is when a sperm and an egg fuse together, I would say. Or the nuclei fuse together. Sperm and egg. Nuclei
fuse, or you could have just said come together, join, something like that. Maybe not bond, because that's a more chemical word. Sketch a sperm and egg and label the tail, the head and the jelly coat. Well, hopefully you already did that if you tried that question 2. That's the head, that's the tail. And the egg with the jelly coat, I just do a big circle with another circle around it, and the jelly coat is on the outside. And let's give the egg a break. Let's add some detail. Let's put a little nucleus in as well. Explain why sperm have tails. Sperm should be word. Sperm have tails because they've got to swim to the egg. We will look at the sperm's journey, like I say, lesson 3. They have to swim to the egg because the egg's not moving, and also they've got to swim upwards, right, against gravity. So they've got to do a lot of swimming. They work very hard, those sperm. Right, I'll leave that up so that you can make sense of my answers. So next week we're going to look at the actual bits of the male and female reproductive system in more detail, like find out what the uterus is and the ovaries and the penis and the testicles and all that stuff. Lesson 3, we're going to do the sperm's journey, because it's a real adventure that the sperm goes on. It's literally and metaphorically got a lot to get through. And then we're going to do a little bit on how plants reproduce as well, maybe a bit on periods and puberty and this kind of thing. So 7 lessons, we've got 7 lessons until Christmas. And if you come to my shows with the Lego Storytime, then we're doing fire this week because it's bonfire night. So we're doing Saturday at 10 o'clock and Monday at 5:30. You just need to bring a candle and some adult supervision, or make sure the adults in your house know that you have a lit flame. But we're just going to basically stare at fire and think, what is it? Because I must admit, I wasn't sure. Right, have you got all that? I'm just going to flip you around so I can say bye. Hey, thanks for liking and subscribing, you guys who have done that. I'm going to flip. You ready? Oh, I said I'd check my... This is the first lesson, so I don't think that anyone has commented any questions. The good thing about this being my 3rd lesson, I've done it twice live on Facebook with comments, is that I know what questions you all want to answer, so I have answered them already. Oh my goodness, no, wait, there's loads. Oh, brilliant. All right, I'm going to flip you around now. Hello, Lucy's watching. Where's my... Okay, that's the end of the lesson. If you have absolutely zero interest in the comments that I've received and hearing the answers to questions, then you may leave and I will not be offended. Right, all comments. Oh, hello Lucy, that's so nice. Hi. Lucy's watching on YouTube. The only lesson we can make. Oh, that's brilliant. I'm so pleased. Oh, okay. Hannah and Abby have had a disagreement. That's good, isn't it? Oh yeah, one thinks 2, the other thinks 4. Yeah, I wanted to catch you out with the how does the sperm get through the egg? Does it dissolve it or does it spear it? So I can't remember who was... Oh, one thinks 2, the other 4. Oh, I see. Oh, no, I get it. Abby thought that the nutrients only come from the placenta. Yeah, very good point. I think lesson 4, actually, we're going to look at how the human actually develops and grows. Yeah, I think that will be lesson 4. So yeah, you're right. For the vast majority of its life, it is the placenta, the little tube that goes from the fetus to the female, and that's how the fetus gets its nutrients. But it's just like the first couple of weeks before the placenta has formed that it is nutrients. Well done, you guys. I just like the discussion. The screen is flipped. You don't need to write backwards. Thanks. Well, it's too late now, isn't it? Just considering that worms are hermaphrodites. Oh yeah, I feel like I owe it to Wormy to learn more about worms. We kind of need to do a show on worms, don't we? If Wormy's going to have a family, I feel like I'm going to get a bit over my head. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, thank you. YouTube has flipped the screen. Oh no, did I just do a whole lesson? Oh no, that's really embarrassing. So you guys were all looking at all those complicated words like flagellum and acrosome written backwards. Oh, thank you. That is the kind of feedback I need. Erin is watching. Hi. Oh no, Erin's watching, and Erin always rickrolls me in the comments on Facebook. He always tries to get that song in my head. But now just saying Erin's name makes me start singing that very good but very annoying Rick Astley song. Thanks, Erin. That's great. That's psychology, isn't it? That now I'm like, never gonna give you, never gonna let. Why, Erin? The whole day now. The whole day. Never gonna let you. Okay, well, thanks for your comments, folks. I'm surprised it's not more. People were quite angry on Facebook that I didn't talk about twins or IVF. But I think at the end of the sperm's journey, we'll do a bit about twins and IVF. Okay, so nice to have some worm comments from you. Thanks very much. And to get re-rolled. Now it feels like a bit of science lesson. All right, you're not. Thank you so much for joining me on YouTube. It's great advice. I don't need to write backwards. This is going to be brilliant. So I'll just do this every week now. So the lesson that's on 12:30 on Tuesdays on Facebook and 11 o'clock on Wednesdays on Facebook is now going to be 10:30 on Thursdays on YouTube. I'll see you soon. Thanks for joining. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Bye. She says, now I have to work out how to turn this off.